Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
What's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you. Today, I have an amazing guest from Brooklyn, New York, Tina Panariello. How are you, Tina? What's going on?
I'm fine. How are you, Henry?
I'm doing awesome. You remind me so much of like my Aunt Arlene, who used to do nails in her basement for years and years and years and years. So I was like, when I saw your picture on LinkedIn, I was like, I got to have Aunt Arlene on the show.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay.
She's a gorgeous, gorgeous Italian woman from North Jersey. So you fit the mold perfectly.
Thank you.
So I found you on LinkedIn. We connected on LinkedIn. And for those of you guys that are listening, I am on LinkedIn quite a bit lately because I realized that there are thousands and thousands and thousands of entrepreneurs on LinkedIn that are all just trying to connect with other like-minded folks. And so I happened to bump into Tina on LinkedIn and we started chatting in the chat. And as I got to know her business a little bit more and did a little bit more research on her, I said, I got to have her on the show because she has quite an amazing story that is going to be very inspirational for a lot of you guys that may be starting out or may have a business for a few years and are looking for ways to sort of take it to the next level or get over that fear of not believing in yourself to actually take your business to the next level. So Tina, let's start by giving some background because as I looked you up, I saw that you were featured in the Daily News and you have all these awards and I thought that was pretty fascinating. So I want to know, before we get into all that juicy stuff, I want to take it back to day one. I want to know how you got into the nail business from the beginning and how it transpired into a successful business.
You're asking a lot there, Henry. I was going to call you Kaminski. That's okay. I was originally doing in-home jewelry parties.
Got it.
And I used to do my own nails. Okay. And what I would do design work, like with nail polish and make a design.
Okay.
So in order to get jewelry parties, I would go stay with my husband at the time, ex-husband, into, say, a diner, show the jewelry, and say to one of the waitresses, would you like to have a jewelry party for me? And their answer was usually no. And then I would say, well, how about I give you as a gift, look at my nails. I'd show her my nails. I'd say, how about you get this as a gift on your nails and a percentage of the jewelry? Well, once she saw my nails, she said, okay, I'd love it. Let's do it.
Okay, so let me stop you right there. Look at what you just did. You provided value up front. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a gimme. It was I'll tell you what. This is what I'm going to do for you first. And in return, this is what I ask of you. So it was more, you put the value on that waitress and basically gave her an offer she couldn't refuse.
Yes. And I knew it. I just knew it. I'm that kind of person. So she gave me a party and that went on for a year and a half. I got as far as I wanted to go in the particular company. And then I said, you know what? I met a young lady in Jersey. She gave me also a jewelry party. And it turns out she did nails.
It wasn't my Aunt Arlene, was it?
No. We did nails. And she came from Tom's River. That's before Tom's River became so big now. Uh-huh. Anyway, she was moving to Brooklyn and she said, why don't we get together and do nails together? Well, at the time, acrylic nails just started. Okay. It wasn't big. It was just something that she was doing. So all I did was the manicure and the design. Okay. That was it. Nothing more than that. And partners are very difficult and things didn't work out. So I left. And I left with 2 clients. They followed me. And at the time, my son was about 7 or 6, somewhere in there. And at school, everybody noticed my nails also and asked the same question. Who did that? I said, I did it. You did that? I said, yeah, why? What's the big deal? And they go, but it is a big deal. I said, no, it's not. And of course, word of mouth, I did nails.
So where did you get this talent for nail design?
Well, I didn't know this, but we're going to go back many, many years. When I was in high school, I wanted to be a surgeon. And I used to draw, you're going to laugh, my mother had medical dictionaries, and I would pull them out, and I would draw the medical illustrations in the dictionary onto 8.5 by 10 paper. So now, figure the picture is maybe an inch and a half. I made it 8 inches to fit an 8-inch, 10-inch page.
So you scaled it.
The correct. And I stayed home for the whole summer and made a book. And I'm drawing, not knowing where this came from. My father was an artist. My uncle was an artist. My aunts were into seamstressing. So it was in my blood without me knowing it. Well, I didn't make medical school, and I was a little upset over it, but I still had that in me, and that's where it came from.
Boom.
And off the top of my head, I played with color. I just played. And my nails were first. Nobody else, just me.
So you're a creative just like me. And it's funny, I have a funny story. It's very, very similar. I had no idea 10 years ago what graphic design was. And I was working at Hackensack University Medical Center at the time, and I needed
God.
Yeah. And I was running special events for the Sudden Infant Death Syndrome Center. And I was responsible for raising funds for the families in the state of New Jersey to create events for them so that they could all come together for support. And it was funny because I had no idea what graphic design was. One of my buddies actually did all the marketing, like the flyers for the event. And I'm sitting next to him in his bedroom as he's designing on the computer. And I'm just enamored. I'm fascinated. And I said to myself, I need to learn how to do this because this is really cool. This is like going to keep me young and it's going to keep me fresh. And so I started fiddling with Photoshop and design and really started to create a hobby out of it. And then I started to get people to come to me. I actually had different departments in the hospital reach out to me because every time they saw a SIDS promotion or an event for SIDS in my department, they were like, who did this amazing invitation? Like, we need this for our department. So they started calling me and started paying for me to do all the invitations for them. And so if it wasn't for my boss at the time, I convinced her to basically buy the Photoshop product so we could install it on my laptop computer and do all the in-house design now. I didn't have to hire my buddy anymore. And from there on, it just caught fire. And here I am freaking 10 years later. And so it sounds like a very similar story. It just happened.
Yes, that's exactly it.
So fast forward, you get into nail design and you're crushing it because from what you're saying, everyone is noticing the beautiful nails that you're wearing. And they're all wondering, how do I get those for myself? So what happened? Like, where did the corner turn?
Well, what happened was word of mouth, actually. I started working in-house. I would go out and do work in other people's homes. And then 2 days a week, they were in my home.
Okay.
And I went from Brooklyn to Long Island to Staten Island downtown Brooklyn. I would do either one person or I would do 5 a night. My son was in school between 9 and 3, so I did my day girls then. He'd come home from school, take care of him, make sure I had a good sitter, which I did. And then I would go to a house, say, downtown Brooklyn, and do 5 girls from 8 o'clock till, I'm glad you're sitting down, till maybe 2 in the morning.
My God.
Yeah, I used to work till 4 in the morning. I love what I do. I still love what I do. That's the funny part of it.
So it's not really working.
Excuse me?
It's not really working.
What's not really working?
If you love what you do.
Oh, I have no desire to retire. None whatsoever.
Me either. I love where you're going with this.
I'm not going I'm staying right where I am. And it turns out that I had too many clients. I couldn't be staying home till 3, 4. I couldn't be staying out till 3, 4 in the morning. It got to be a little difficult. Let's put it that way. So at that time, I had been involved with another gentleman, and he had suggested, why don't you open a salon? And I looked at him and I said, you're crazy. I'm not doing anything. And I didn't listen. So one day I'm walking and I pass a store 7 blocks from my home. And I go, oh my God, it's for sale. It's for rent. So I come home, he comes home, and I go, I found a place. Now it's 3 months later, Henry, 3 months. I had to think about this. So he goes, where? And I tell him, he goes, that's the store I wanted you to look at. I said, okay, let's go check it out. So I did. And the only reason that I was able to rationalize what to do, if I could run a home, I could pay rent, I pay electric, I pay gas, and so on and so forth. Why can't I run a business? And that was my logic. But I was a lucky, lucky woman. I approached my parents and I said to them, I want to open a nail salon. And my mother said to me, are you crazy? I said, no, I'm very serious. Come on now. Could you help me out? Well, all right. How much? I said, I don't know. I've never done this in my life. The room was a man's gym. It was disgusting. Henry, picture a man's gym walking in. Oh, no. The bathroom was horrible. The wall, everything. It had to be gutted. So I borrowed $35,000, I think. My mother said more, but I heard 35 to me seemed right. He borrowed 5 from his parents. Uncle Richie, this was Uncle Richie's nephew.
Okay.
So Uncle Richie, Butchie, and my brother, Andrew, they did the work, so I didn't have to hire anybody. Now, you see how you learned how to do designing? I know how to do interior decorating, and I know how to make schematics. So I drew the inside of the salon before they built it. And I told them what I wanted. And then that's what they did. So they bought everything. I went out and bought some antique furniture. I knew exactly what I wanted. And it took 3 months, 4 months to put it together. And at the time, I was still learning how to do nails. They had no schools. I had to do a lot of reading, a lot of research. I'm self-taught. I'm licensed. After 10 years, I'm grandfathered.
Okay.
And we opened the salon with 35 clients, or I should say, Butchie and I were partners. I bought him out when things didn't work out. Okay. And with 35 clients, I'm telling you a lot at one time. Oh, my God.
No, I love it. Finish the thought because I have a question.
With 35 clients, when I first opened in 84, within 2 years, maybe 2.5 years, I had 250 clients.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. So let me pause here for a second. So let me go back to asking your parents for the $35,000. Now, there must have been some fire lit under your ass for you to ask for $35,000 from your parents. And so here's where I want to just share with the audience the difference between wanting something that bad that you will do whatever it takes to make that happen versus having an idea in your head and just playing with that idea over and over and over again and not taking any action. So I want to know, Tina, what burned you up so bad where you said, I don't have the money to make this happen, but I will find it. And you became resourceful and went to your parents. Where did that come from?
You know, it's funny. I never thought about all these things because I'm the kind of person that just does what it is I want. But at the time, having 35 clients and being out till 3 a.m, something had to give. And every time I turned, everybody wanted to know, well, who did that? Can I come in? Can I come over? Can I get an appointment? Can I this? Can I that? And I said to myself, my God, I am going to make myself so thin. What am I going to do? I have to do something. And that was the 3 months of the debating within myself. I never mentioned it to anyone, never mentioned it to my boyfriend at the time, never mentioned it to my parents. My parents knew that I was out late. They knew what I was doing. My mother and I were very close. And I would never say, I never dropped a hint. All I said was, I found a store 7 blocks from the house. I could be there for Wayne if he needs me. The school was right in the middle. He could come to the salon. I just had all these things in my brain. And I guess the want of, I was a single mother, the want of having something, I knew I needed to do it because I was growing so rapidly. And there were only 2 other salons in this industry at the time. So I went into the industry at the beginning of the industry when it first started. I never went to get my nails done, by the way, Henry. I never had manicures, never did pedicures.
So you were first to market. You were one of the first to market.
Yes.
Okay, that's another tip I want people that are listening in to pay attention to. When you become first to market, then everybody behind you, what are they looked at as? The copycat.
Yeah.
So when you get an idea in your head, guys, you have to execute on it. Now, it took Tina 3 months before she actually said, that's it, I'm doing it. Now, a lot of things could have happened in those 3 months. That place could have got rented, and this idea could have been shattered in a split second. But enough was enough, and Tina said, we're doing it. I'm going to find a way, and we're going to make this happen. And so, and then I want to point out that she said she was out there till 4 a.m. doing nails, and that the business was growing so much that something had to give. And it reminds me of when I first started my business, when I resigned from the hospital and took Unique Designz on full time in 2007. I remember doing the 20-hour days, literally 20-hour days. And I said, and the money was coming in hand over fist, which was amazing. But I remember I turned 30 and I said, it was 2 years gone. 2 years of that went by, and it goes by fast, right, Teen? It's like when you're working busy like that, the time just goes. And I remember I was closing up shop and it was about 3 a.m. And I looked in the mirror as I was brushing my teeth and I said, is this what entrepreneurship is all about? Like, is this going to be my life? Am I going to be 40, 50, working 20-hour days, not seeing my girlfriend, now my wife, I only see her on the weekends and when I go to sleep? I said, this isn't for me. We got to make a move here. And that's when I invested in coaches, and I invested in help, and I invested in scaling my business, taking me out of the equation and replacing myself with a project manager, hiring more designers, and scaling this business to now a 16-person agency. And that's what it takes, guys. So Tina felt the pain is what I'm trying to say. And she said, I got to make a move. And she did. And that's why she's on today's show, is because I love entrepreneurs like this, that it's not if something happens, it's when something happens. And you're just a go-getter. You're an action taker. And that's why I wanted to feature you today. So awesome, awesome stuff. So now, fast forward, you got this salon. You went from 35 clients to 200-something clients. I don't even know. I'm bad with numbers, so I don't even know the percentage of growth that is. But so now you're rocking and rolling. A lot of it's word of mouth. You're an excellent designer. People love what you do. I can tell you have the gift of gab, and you're a people person. and so I could see why you got so many clients so quickly. So now what happens?
Well, I might have gotten 250 clients, but I had to hire people. So before I even opened the salon, I met a young lady around the corner from where I live who had gone to cosmetology school, and she was a manicurist. Mm-hmm. So I asked her to work with me in my house. See, that's how it all started. It was me and another girl. Then when it came time to open the salon, I asked her to work for me. But nobody actually worked for me. They worked with me. Nobody considered, And then one of my other clients, whose nails I did, also went to cosmetology school. So I said to her, would you like to work with me? And she goes, when? She also had young children. So I said, well, you can't do it in the day. Marilyn works in the day. How about you take the night shift from 6 to 10? Is that good for you? Twice a week, and on Saturday. She goes, oh, that's great. So that's how I got Barbara. First Marilyn, then Barbara. And then I kept saying, oh, gosh, it's growing and growing. I had one receptionist who started out as my client also. Her mother did, so I hired her as my receptionist. And then it came to, okay, I needed somebody else now. So I met another young lady who knew about it, about nails and manicuring, and hired her to do 2 other nights. So that's where that came from.
So now you're building this business.
Right. And then Saturdays got so busy, I was doing 28 girls between 9 and 6. That is not enough hours. So I needed one more nail technician. So I found another nail technician. So we were 4 nail technicians on a Saturday and 2 receptionists. That's how I did it. And we worked, believe it or not, Saturdays, I didn't finish till close to 9, mainly because all the nail technicians, I had my clients, they all had their own, but I did everybody's design. So I did 280 fingers of painting, and they did each 8 clients. We all had 8 clients for the day. And at that time, I don't know how other salons worked. I only knew about mine. Saturday mornings, there was bagels and butter and cream cheese and coffee and tea. And everybody came in and was able to have breakfast if they wanted. I had a client that was coming to me from another part of Brooklyn, and she would go out Friday night, and she would come in, sleep in the back in my kitchen, and say, call me when my appointment is ready. And yes, I know. And that's what I did.
Oh my God. I love this story. I love this story. It is so pure in every form. So now this is in the 80s and 90s.
Correct.
Okay. So now bring me up to speed. Bring me up to speed to sort of, and you don't have to go into super detail here. I want to know where the 30 years went real quick in 2 minutes.
In 2 minutes, I'll tell you. When the market crashed in 89, I got affected in 91. I had to close the salon during the day, took a job in Manhattan for 2 years, worked the salon at night. I found another place. I moved into another salon, and I rent now the back of the salon. I no longer have 250 clients. I work alone, but my name has been out there throughout the United States. I competed for 4 years, took 13 to 15 trophies. I'm a world and international champion, and my artwork still speaks for itself, and that's how I promote.
It's gorgeous. So I'm on your website now, and I see the detail that goes into what you do on women's nails. And it reminds me, and my Aunt Arlene did exactly what you did. She had that eye like you had, and she worked out of her basement, and she had this little salon studio, and it just reminds me of the work that she did from what I recall. I mean, I was tiny. I was running around with my diapers on when she was doing this. But, but I remember seeing the nails, and I remember seeing this type of detail. It reminds me of her and her business as well. And so now your name is out there. Now you're getting this recognition. You're in the Daily News picks you up as a story. And so tell me about that. Like what kind of feeling was that when the Daily News knocks on your door and says, we got to do a story on you?
I was driving when they called. I was dying. When I heard it was them, I pulled over and I went and I was like, who is this? And he told me who he was, and he goes, it's the Daily News. I said, it's the Daily News. What do you want with me? What did I do? And he said, well, you wrote a book. I want to know more about the book. I said, oh, okay. What do you want to know? And he says, well, he said, tell me a little bit about it, more in detail. And I did. And I died. I literally died when we were on the phone, and it came out. I said, no, this isn't happening, but it did. It really happened.
Let me ask you this. How did you ask him how he found you?
At the time, my publisher sent out releases to every newspaper, and they were one of them.
Aha. So get this, guys that are listening in. See how Tina got recognized. She found a publisher to help her with her book, and the publisher on her behalf pushed out press releases about Tina to all the publications. And it just so happened that the time that the Daily News was on that list. And so you hear me stressing this constantly and in nauseam about how you need to get yourself out there, because that was back in the early 2000s. Now, imagine what it's like in 2018 when technology has gone out of this world. There's a gazillion more people doing what Tina does. And now everybody's shouting as loud as they can on social media and on the internet. And now you have to compete with hundreds of people instead of a handful. So it's so important to reach out to your audience, to reach out and get your name out there and let your work speak for itself. Like I'm looking at Tina's work right now on the computer, and like you can tell she's a diamond in the rough. And that's why I stress to all of you guys that are out there that are either starting business or building your business over a few years now, master your craft. Stop worrying so much about what the competition doing. See, Tina said something before. I didn't know what other salons were doing. I knew what my salon was doing. And that is a huge takeaway I want you guys to pick up. And Tina just sort of skimmed over that. And there's such a valuable point there. She wasn't worried about the competition. In her eyes, there was no competition. It was, how can I provide value? How can I provide an experience to my clients and have that experience be awesome so that they come back over and over and over again and tell all their girlfriends. And so I want you guys to stop thinking or stop falling for the shiny object syndrome. Every time something new comes out on the internet or on social media, you got to go grab it. Focus on your craft, because if people don't see you as an expert, you are a commodity. Okay? So, Tina, let's wrap this up. So now you get all of this recognition, and now it's 2018. Your name speaks for itself. You're doing your thing still. What are you doing in 2018 to keep your business healthy?
Okay. I still have a lot of my old clients. They're still coming to me. There's only me that does the work now. I downsized.
Let me ask you this. Have you increased your price because now you are a 30-year veteran, 30-plus year veteran?
Henry, I am still the most expensive in the area of most of Brooklyn.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah, I've not compromised my prices.
Good.
That is something I don't do.
Good, because you deserve every penny of what you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And I've joined Yelp. Okay. I've gotten a few clients from Yelp. It's still word of mouth. My business speaks for itself. I still get it. I still grow. I'm still learning. You can't stop learning. You have to keep learning new things. I do learn. The only thing I do not do acrylic and I do not do gels. I worry about the natural nail. I am basically health-wise on the nail industry. Okay. I follow what's going on in the nail industry. If I don't like what I see and I think it's harmful, I won't use it. Okay. And I make sure I follow up on how it's used. Okay. And I'm always doing it on me first.
I love that. Yeah, you got to try it out first on yourself. I do a lot of that myself. A lot of the services, the subscription services that my business now has adopted and serves my clients, I actually work with the vendor first, or I work with the team first on my stuff. And if it's I love that. I love that way of doing business where you got to try it first. And if it sucks, then we don't offer it to clients, obviously. Right.
Right.
So I love how health conscious you are with your business. And I think if there's one thing that I think would differentiate you from everyone else out there that are doing it, because that's my next question, besides the detail, besides the quality that you do, what separates you from everyone else?
I worry about my client. I don't worry about me. I will get what I deserve. But if I don't give the best to the client that walks out that door, then I've lost. I've lost them. The only reason I've lost clients is they lost their jobs. They moved. They had children and they can't come in anymore. But otherwise, I've not lost them to anything that I've done.
Can you please, guys that are listening to this, hear that? If there's anything that you take away from today's episode, it's that. People care about how much you care about them. That's what they buy. She can have the best skill set in the world when it comes to designing these nails. But if she doesn't care about the actual client, the human being, she doesn't have a business, because nobody's going to hire her just for the skill, because you could go anywhere and get this. It's the relationship that she built. It's the brand that Tina built that connects her to her audience and her clients. And that's why she never lost a client other than the reasons she mentioned. And that's what you guys got to pay attention to. So my question to the audience is, how much is a client worth to you? How much is a client worth to you? Tina, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's such an inspiration to hear somebody come from literally zero, an idea, a God-given talent of duplicating and scaling medical dictionaries to a successful career in nail design, and having that pain of not becoming a surgeon, having that pain of something has to give so that I can provide more for my son and have a better quality of life for me, but being so selfless about it and having just this empathetic and sincerity about you and how much you care about your clients determines the amount of success you will have in your business. And you're a pure example of that. So I can't thank you enough. I mean, we should sell this episode for like $5,000. I'll split it with you.
If you want to do it. What can I tell you?
I'm teasing. No, guys, I'm not going to sell the episode.
I wish other people thought or felt like I did. My clients love coming to me, and they say it constantly. They spend however long they're there. They come, they relax, they talk. I'm personable. I just got a brand new client recently, and she was amazed. And all my credentials are on the wall. Everything is in my salon with what I've done. I hide nothing. And she was amazed at that.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the transparency that people are looking for in 2018, because everybody's skepticism is so high. You know, there's a lot of swindlers out there. The internet's not such a safe place anymore. You know, there's people out there that are shucking and jiving all day long. And when somebody comes in and gets this experience, it's like a breath of fresh air. And one of my old colleagues, I still chat with him on Facebook here and there. But he said, people nowadays are starving for one thing, and it's the truth. And it's your responsibility as an entrepreneur, business owner, to give that to them. And that's what you're doing. And that's why you have a business 30 plus years later. And so I want people that are listening to this to understand that it's not the fancy funnel. It's not the fancy website. It's relationships. Yes, building a brand online and making a more updated website, or taking your logo and making it more modern and timeless. Yes, these are all sort of bolt-ons or add-ons. But if you don't have the relationship skills to build a business, get out of the business, because it's not for you. So there you have it, guys. Tina, is there anything that you want to share with my audience when it comes to building a business from the ground up? Like one takeaway, maybe we missed something. What would you share with them?
If they really want to have a business, I feel they should dream it, live it, taste it, feel it, believe it, and you're going to get it. If you do not feel any of that, don't bother, because then you really don't want it. You have to want it so badly that when you have dinner, you're eating your dinner, but you're tasting what you want. When you go to sleep at night and you dream, you're going to dream about the salon or the business or whatever it is you want. You're going to dream about that. You're going to see where it goes. When I competed, it took me 4 years to get what I really wanted, and I wanted the international championship. I wanted it so bad that I practiced and practiced and practiced, but I wanted it, and I got it. It wasn't easy. It was work. But if you're not willing to work for what you want, don't bother. I'm sorry to say that. Don't bother. You have to work for what you want.
Oh, I love it. Tina, we're going to leave it there. That was amazing. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and just sharing your 30 plus years of expertise and your passion for what it is that you do. It's been a pleasure. And I'm so happy that I met you on LinkedIn. I am. So guys, real quick, some housekeeping stuff. If you haven't yet gone to Facebook and joined the Brand Doctors Hangout Facebook group, head on over there right now and subscribe to that group. There's about 400 of us in there right now that are all helping each other build each other's brands. If you haven't subscribed to this podcast yet, please do so and share it with a friend or a colleague if you found this episode helpful and another person could benefit from it. I appreciate you. I thank you in advance. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you again, Tina, for being such an amazing guest, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Keep rocking, guys.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesigns.net.